So I'm still reflecting on the winter retreat that we just finished. Before I came to the Abbey, I wasn't fond of group retreats. I preferred to go at my own pace and work on whatever I wanted to work on. And I found group retreats kind of confining or restricting in some way. I found them frustrating. But since I've come to the Abbey, I actually have learned to enjoy group retreats. I look forward to them for a couple of reasons. One, I think the individual and the collective merit that we accumulate during the year with all the service that we offer really powers us to go into retreat and have a new experience. Also, I trust the synergy of being with like-minded people, that collectively we do something together that couldn't be done by one individual in retreat alone. And so I appreciate that. And I really look forward to that. It usually takes me 7 to 10 days to really drop into the groove of retreat, especially the long retreats. And I was determined the first month, I was especially determined not to look at the news at all, not to be on the internet at all, to stay off of email. And before 2016, this was just a given, that nobody at the Abbey was on the internet during retreat. But then 2016 was a little unique and interesting. The presidential election was happening, the inauguration was happening, the first Trump administration. And so there was some internet activity during that retreat, and it makes a big difference. So being off of the internet completely was a joy. It was relaxing for my mind. And then in the second and third month of this 3-month retreat, I did look at internet for doing some email, some inner Abbey email, and looked at a few headlines. But what was so fascinating was to see how that impacted the mind when I went back and did a session, how the thoughts were different, how the energy was different. So that was good information to have. I also made a concerted effort to be in retreat, because I find it challenging to do retreat where I live. Do you? Because all the usual distractions are right there. They're still there. But luckily, in last October, Venerable Jigme and I went to attend some teachings. It was a teaching retreat at Vajrapani. So I had a recent experience of what it was like to step away from the Abbey and actually do retreat without the usual jobs and chores and distractions that we find here. Good distractions, of course, but those two things were very conducive conditions for being in retreat. And also this beautiful, dense, freezing fog set in for the whole month, which made it feel like a very pure land. We were just enveloped in this beautiful, almost like being in a snow globe, a Dharma snow globe. So that really supported the quietness and the stillness that happened in retreat. I thoroughly enjoyed meditating on Chenrezig, doing the Chenrezig practice, and my mind felt very light and blissful much of the time. That's not my usual experience of retreat, light and bliss. I mention this because I'm not accustomed to experience bliss day after day after day. That's unusual for me. Kind of made me nervous. Like, I kept thinking, can I relax into this? Is this okay? Am I working hard enough? It brought out some doubt because that's not my ordinary experience. But it gave me a little taste of, wow, this is what's possible in the mind. In fact, I was reflecting on something that Venerable had said in the 7-point mind training teaching the weekend before last, where, often you make fun of people who come looking for love, light, and bliss, and then we talk about suffering. We talk about renunciation, things like that. But in that retreat, you actually said the Buddha actually shows us how to develop the causes for love, light, and bliss. Somehow that just, maybe because of the being in retreat, that just really penetrated. So outside of the sessions, I was reading Lama Zopa Rinpoche's book, How to Meditate, all about attachment. A very sobering book for any of us, no matter where we are on the path. So naturally, thought patterns influenced by attachment were more pronounced, more noticeable. And at least in retreat, it seemed like I was able to antidote them more quickly, more thoroughly. It seemed I could catch when I was focusing just on the happiness of this one life. I was spending time reflecting on these 4 pairs of worldly concerns and really working with antidotes and looking to see how much misery do these actually cause me. They promise happiness, but they don't pay off. So that was very helpful, and I felt really good about all this. And then I had a very vivid, extremely vivid dream that Venerable Chodron was coming home from the Asia tour early. And I was so excited in the dream to talk with her because I wanted to tell her how good my retreat was going. And then in the dream, there was this strong sense of shame, like, but you have all this attachment, and then I felt like, oh, I didn't want to tell you about that. I just wanted to tell you about the love and the light and the bliss. So that was like a wake-up call for me, and I really appreciated that, wherever that came from. I appreciated that because after the dream, I made much more considered effort to reflect on the various people and things that I notice I still have attachment for. So, meditating on, like my mother. My mother's been dead for 4 years, but I still have this sense of attachment to her. Or various friends that I feel connected with, even a couple of Dharma teachers that I feel some attachment for. So I had a chance to go back and look at that and really analyze what's going on here. Like who are you attached to? Which version of that person are you attached to? Because they're changing in every moment. And who is it that's attached to those people? So using some of the teachings on emptiness that we had to reflect on that. Also reflecting on the various things that I'm attached to. Now, luckily, I don't know, I've been ordained a while. I don't feel that attached to many possessions. I'm sure if you took away something, I would miss it. But more than things, more than possessions, I'm attached to praise and reputation. Those are the 2 Achilles heels for me. I'm also attached to comfort, I will admit. And especially in retreat, you really get to see that, how we're looking for comfort all the time, whether it's trying to get enough sleep, just the right amount of sleep, just the right amount of food, the kind of food that's going to work for me, various things like that. Having things my way, those are the things that I tend to be attached to. So I began offering all these people and objects to the Buddha Dharma Sangha in my mandala offerings. Just imagining them filling all of the sky and offering them again and again and again. And I found this so creative and stimulating and very productive, just to imagine giving them away again and again. Maybe you were doing the same thing in your mandala nundro. Multiplying, filling them the sky. Felt very liberating. So analyzing these people and things that I do have ongoing attachment for and reflecting on them, I feel like my confidence has grown a little bit in my ability to notice attachment when it arises and knowing how to work with it, not just letting it be in the background, but identifying, oh, that's attachment. You need to antidote that. It's not going to bring you what is promising. And so for me, there's a lingering sense of spaciousness and freedom from that. And of course, time will tell. How long does that last? Is that going to fade by next Tuesday? We'll see. With each retreat, there's this new awareness of the enormity of the task that we have signed up for. I mean, it's enormous. And also a new benchmark of what we can experience, what we have experienced in our retreat, in our meditations, and how it's possible for us to change and grow. It gives us a new something, although we may not be able to maintain that past the retreat, there's still that experience, that memory of where we've stretched ourselves, where we've grown, even if it doesn't last. So it's humbling to see how slow the progress is in the face of beginningless accumulation of afflictions and karma, and mental habits and things like that. But, humility is a good thing in Dharma practice.